Mel Albin. I'm the host and the founder of the Jazz Confusion
My
Power
name
Hour.
is Dion Parson, and I'm honored to share my passion of music with you, our listening audience, through my cultural heritage.
Things can change for you too. If you want to be brand new, that is absolutely possible.
And welcome to the Jazz Confusion Power Hour. I'm Mel Albin. I'm your host, and I am the creator of the Power Hour and the station Source TV radio network. So first, I want to tell you a little bit about the Power Hour. I created the show because it became clear to me that through syndication, it's become more and more difficult for artists to spend a lot of time on air, so fans and other music aficionados get to know their music. So I created the Power Hour so we can go backstage and go behind the mind of the artist and learn what they do every day to create the music that we all love. So that's the reason why I created it. The Power Hour broadcasts weekly on Thursday nights in live streaming 4K, and we're the only station I know of that broadcasts sound in Dolby True HD. So let me tell you a little bit about Source Radio. Source Radio is a nonprofit 501c3 radio station. We support jazz and Black and minority micro businesses so these businesses can build scale to get on the finance industry radar. Typically, they're too small for Amazon or for Shopify, so we want to make sure that they can build generational wealth and their businesses grow and succeed. We depend on listener contributions and donations from our sponsors, and also contributions and donations from the artists that appear on the Source TV radio network. It's a mutually beneficial engagement. We promote them, and they help support jazz and their careers on our station. So any contribution or donation you make, remember, we're a charitable 501c3, so it's always tax deductible. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the Power Hour guests. I'm going to run through a list, so bear with me. I want you to get a feeling for the kinds of artists we've had on the show. We've had Eric Roberson, Mesa, Brian Culbertson, Paul Brown, Steve Davis, Felix Cavalieri, Raheem DeVaughn, Reagan Whiteside, Alex Harris, Samara Joy, Greg Adams, Tom Brown, Costella, Pieces of a Dream, Kamasi Washington, Kiko Matsui, Kim Scott, Sheryl Crow, Billy Ocean, Annie Lennox, Maria Antoinette, Yulia, Blake Aaron, Her, Celine Johnson, Mavis Swan-Poole, the late Bobby Caldwell, Jeff Beck, Dion Parson, Tammy McCann, Eric Burden, and Kelly Finnegan from the Monophonics, and many others. So we have had a terrific range of jazz crossover, and jazz R&B artists on our show since inception. Now tonight is no exception. The New York-based jazz vocalist we're going to have on tonight is a songwriter, recording artist, and creates music that seamlessly interweaves classic jazz, elegance, and a contemporary voice of real warmth and texture. Her upcoming album, Delightfully, on Resensitize Records, Resensitize Records, is going to be launched in full on August 28th this year, but we have the privilege tonight of playing 4 of those songs from her LP that's forthcoming, and we are among the first stations to be able to share her music with our audience. So I think you're going to enjoy this tonight greatly. Let me tell you a little bit more about her. Her new album features 14 original compositions that have wit, philosophical insight, and modern clarity. They're hallmarks of a singular artistic voice shaped by a genuinely New York upbringing. She grew up in an artist co-op loft on Great Jones Street in the Soho area of New York, and she would go pass by the iconic Blue Note and the Village Gate. It is a familiar landmarks that she passed every day on the way to school. So she ended up working with legendary manager Ken Greengrass, who brought her into Warner Chapel to cut an early demo. After touring Japan twice alongside heavyweights John Faddis and David Hazeltine, and by the way, John Faddis was also on my show, she also went to the Montreal International Jazz Festival. Then came a run where she had truly hit her stride. Her album Playfully in 2023 was the winner of 2 Global Music Awards, praised by Jazz Journal UK for lyrics wrapped in a rare welcome optimism. Alive was her next recording in 2024, recorded with musicians across 2 continents, and then came Sweetness in 2025. She's a voting member of the Recording Academy since 2017. She served on numerous academy committees, currently the Advocacy Committee and formerly the Education Committee, aligning with working professionals from both the business and creative sides of the industry. Through her Recording Academy work, she has represented fellow musicians directly to lawmakers, advocating for free speech protections for musicians and for the No Fakes Act, pending federal legislation to protect creators and their work from unauthorized use by AI to generate fake content. Please welcome tonight's special guest. I'm so pleased to have her on, Monika Ryan. Monika,
hello.
welcome.
Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction.
It's well deserved. It's all you.
Thank you.
Let me get my paper straight here, and then we can talk some more. Okay. So we have a lot to cover tonight. We have about 50 minutes, so time passes by quickly. So we'll try to keep everything brief so people can hear your music. We're going to play 4 songs tonight, and they can get to know you a little better also. So let's start off. I always start off the show by asking the artist, what's cooking for the rest of this year? What are you up to?
Oh, thank you. Well, what's cooking is this new album, Delightfully. We recorded it in April, and I'm doing a waterfall release, actually, which is I'm releasing a single. You are playing one song that hasn't been released yet. It'll be released tomorrow, but I'm releasing a single every Friday all summer. And so the 3 of them are released, and 1 is being released tomorrow, the Valentine song. And then I have several more releases until August 28th when the whole album releases. And I'm going to have a release concert in New York at a brand new club called One Flight Up on September 22nd. That's a new club owned by the drummer on this album, Joe Strasser. He's a wonderful drummer. And another show in New York at a club called Mesro, one of the great clubs in New York, owned by Spike Wilner. I believe it's November 15th. And other than that, I'm going to be writing music and promoting this album and performing where the performances are.
Terrific. Are you, besides the performances in New York, do you have anything scheduled other places?
I have one benefit I'm doing in Orlando, October 1st. And I believe that's a benefit raising money for breast cancer. I was invited by colleagues, and I haven't done my organizing of the traveling, so it's not on top of mind, but I will be down there.
Terrific. That's great. I just want everybody to know, so if they want to come see you, they know where you're going to be performing.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you.
You know, I was born and raised in New York too. So I was born in Brooklyn. You know, I went to school on Long Island. I went to Stony Brook. So, you know, I'm a New Yorker at heart. And I know you were raised in New York, and the area you were raised in, near the Village in New York, is just, that's my stomping grounds where I used to go to all the clubs. So I want you to tell everybody a little bit about what it was like. Tell them about your family, your parents, and what it was like growing up in that environment that's so musically rich.
Yeah, so my parents are both visual artists, and they met shortly after art school, and their goal was to make, in upstate New York, in Buffalo they met, and their goal was to make it to New York City and to live where the art is. And so they bought a loft that was an old warehouse building on Great Jones Street. And it was very much DIY home in a floor of an old factory building. And they bought that 2 years before I was born. They moved there with my older sister, who was 2 when they moved there. And after 2 years there, they had me. And my father, his job when I was born was he had just started a career as a scenic artist, making sets for TV and Broadway and operas and traveling concerts and movies. So he made sets and props. And he was working on a brand new show around the time of my birth. He had been hired as a scenic artist on Saturday Night Live, the first season, and he was there for a couple of years. So that's what he was doing. And my mother was a painter who was a stay-at-home mom and painter and a newly her new career was also astrological consultant. So she's an astrologer. And that was the house I was born into. Our life was full of art, visual art mostly. And though they liked music, they're sort of not musical people. I'm the odd duck there. My art is expressed through music, but my sister went on to get a degree in visual art and installation art, and now she does ceramics. And so I'm the noisy one.
So tell me, how did you gravitate to music, given the visual arts that were in your home?
Well, I think kids show who they are. They show preferences innately when they're little a lot of the time. And my mom used to say that she would give my older sister a crayon and a piece of paper, and my older sister would draw. She'd give me a crayon and a piece of paper as an infant, and I'd crumple the piece of paper by my ear and hit it with a crayon. And, that was what I wanted to do with it. She'd give me a toy and I'd make noise with it. And she would tell me my sister's 4 years older than me. So, I was always sort of wanting to be wherever my sister was. And she was always wanting to be a big girl away from the baby. And so one of the ways my mom, when she was cooking, would sort of keep me away from bugging my sister is she'd put on like a record that I liked. She didn't have a big record collection, but I showed preferences even as an infant to certain musics, and I loved Vivaldi's Four Seasons. So she put that record on, and she said I'd go sit next to the speaker and bounce for the entire record.
Well, where did you get the Vivaldi's Four Seasons come from? Where did you get it?
Where did I get it? Meaning?
Yeah, you were a young kid. How did you come
I was an
across
infant.
it?
I just liked it. Yeah. She had it when she played it. I would.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. When
she played it, I would go sit next to the speaker and bounce for the both sides of the record. I was focused. So I showed who I was as a musician. And then further, the music, I thought about this a lot. Like when my generation was little, Jim Henson was doing the Muppets and Sesame Street were new. And Jim Henson was a big jazz fan. He had great jazz artists on the Muppets and on Sesame Street. Joe Williams, Betty Carter, I believe. Dizzy Gillespie was on there. There were a lot. Lena Horne was on there, I believe. But there was a lot of good music, good jazz played in that early programming, and we had access to it. And another thing that influenced my sense of jazz before I even had a knowledge of what it was, just like the Muppets, was old movies. My father had an apartment. My parents split up when I was very young, and my father had an apartment on St. Mark's Street, across the street from Theater 80 St. Mark's, which showed old movies on a big screen. And we would go see old movies from the 40s and the 30s on a big screen. And I loved the sounds of what I was hearing. It was something that I really connected to. And I was an old movie buff as a little kid. And when I finally found the name for it, jazz, I was primed for it. I was ready for it. I became a sponge, but I already sort of got the harmony of it because I had absorbed it in other ways.
So, okay. I guess what was it in jazz as a young child that was different from classical music or different from country, which you didn't have much country in New York for sure, but you did have rock and you did have R&B. You know, how did you differentiate? Do you remember?
Well, I think jazz, it has a harmonic structure. It's like liking a flavor. It's like when you taste something and you just like it. And you maybe, when you're very young, you can't describe why you like it, but there's something about it that resonates with you and touches. I like about many things about jazz, and I do have a romantic heart. I'm a romantic human. I'm a much like my music. I'm a softer soul in many ways. Not weak, but soft, gentle. And I think jazz has a lot of sense of humor. I love humor, and there's humor built into the music. There's humanity in it. It's accessible. And so it has all the refinement of classical music while having humor and accessibility, a ton of humanity in it. And not that classical music is without humanity. It's just a different flavor. It's a different flavor. And the jazz flavor always tasted good to me, always.
And what kind of jazz did you like best?
Well, the first jazz album, I love many kinds of jazz. Like it's like saying, what's your favorite shade of red? There's so many shades of red, how can you say just one? But as a young person, I gravitated most to the early Ella Fitzgerald. That was the sweet spot for me. And that's the place from which I branched out in different directions. That's, I would say, the square one.
So talk about your school years briefly. I told everybody you walked to school past all these great
I did. Great. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say I was born in Brooklyn. My parents kidnapped me to Long Island when I was 5 years old, but I came back and I used to go to the 8th Street Cinema before the Fillmore East. So and those things had a major impact on my life. Major in terms of music. And just loving music. So when you went to public school, did you pursue music?
So, I went to like a hippie school, actually. PS3 was, taken over, an old school building that was taken over by hippie parents in the village. And we didn't have gym. We had like creative movement. And we had a national dance week where all the professional dancers would come in and dance for a whole week, put on shows, and these were incredible artists. There were many professional dancers who sent their kids there, and it was a very creative environment. The main things it taught were being a good citizen and being a good artist. And that was my elementary school upbringing. And in fact, the percussionist on this album that's on 2 tracks I went to elementary school with. He's a year older than me, but we went to the same small elementary school in the village. Daniel.
But I want to play the first song, but then I want to come back and I want to talk about, by the time you were 16, you auditioned for the New School for Jazz and Contemporary Music. So I want to know how that came about. We'll talk about that afterwards. I want to play the first song for everybody called Delightfully. And why don't you tell people a backstory about this song and about the whole project?
Okay.
That's the theme song for the album. So why don't you
It's
tell
the
people?
theme song for the album. Well, I did the same thing with this album as I did with my last album, Sweetness. I wrote all the songs and then thought about the theme of the album. There's an overarching theme through all of my music, so that like pretty much I already know that it's positive and it's about, you know, honesty and buoyancy, and that's part of like all of my music, sort of a stoic philosophy. But and emotional health and kindness is all part of all of my music. But then this batch, I really felt like it was about delighting in life, and I wanted to call it delightfully, right? As like two words made one. And but I hadn't written the title song. Like I named the album first, and then I was like, I need a title track. So it's the title track is the last song I wrote after I named the rest of the songs.
Okay. All right. Well, let's hear Delightfully by Monika Ryan. Okay. 1 second, and we'll play it for everybody.
Going to go through life delightfully. I'm going to live with all of my heart. I'm going to dance and take chances and live life as an artist whose life is their art. I'm going to go through life delightfully. I'm going to listen, learn, and grow. I'm going to let myself ignite fully with wonderful people and places everywhere I go. I'm determined as can be to really know all that this epic tale of life has to teach me, and so I'm going to go through life delightfully. I'm gonna find revelers all along the way. I'm gonna keep joy always in sight, you see. I invite you to play along in your own way. Determined as can be to really know all that this epic tale of life has to teach me, and so I'm going to go through life delightfully. I'm gonna find revelers all along the way. I'm gonna keep joy always in sight, you see. I invite you to play along in your own way.
Wow. I love that, Monika. I love the music. Now I see that you have a keyboard behind you. Is that how you? Is that how you compose? You just?
I compose primarily on my piano, and then also on guitar. Sometimes there's a different flavor on the guitar. It takes you in different directions, and sometimes, you know, I don't have a set way that I write. Sometimes I am driving and I put my phone on notes and I just let it run. I put the phone down. I don't have to hold my phone to do that. I can put it in the center console and I'll sing, and I'll come up with an idea. And then from there, I'll take what I sang. If I sang something that was nice, like I'll go, oh, that's good. And I'll go back and I'll write it out and add chords to it and structure to it or refine it. But yeah, I start with all different ways.
Okay. Well, let's backtrack a little bit. We're going to get deeper into songwriting in a few minutes. I wanted you to talk about when you were 16, you auditioned at the New School for Jazz and Contemporary Music. How did that happen? Why that school? And tell us a little bit about that time you spent there.
So once I discovered jazz and I had a name for it. So to go back to like the Blue Note was on my walk to elementary school, and then the Village Gate was on my way home. So, there was a good walk to elementary school, to primary school. And, but I could go either down Bleecker or Third, and that's just the loop I would take. And so there was jazz in my environment, and certainly I would hear it. There was a place called the Cookery over on 8th Street, I believe, and by the Knickerbocker and by Bradley's. And Alberta Hunter had a gig there when I was little. I remember my mom did have one Alberta Hunter record, Remember My Name. Great record, by the way, still a favorite. And so she was old. And I remember looking through the glass. I never went in and heard her live. I was, but I remember looking through the glass and seeing Alberta Hunter singing. She had a regular gig there at the Cookery. But there, jazz was in my environment. So by the time when I was in high school, when I got to high school, I joined the jazz band, which had a group of singers and a trio quartet of other students. And the teacher, Bob Rosen, told me, hey, go get an Ella Fitzgerald record. And I went and got Ella Fitzgerald's Greatest Hits Volume 2. And I was right around the corner from Tower Records. So I went over there and got my double record home and, dropped the needle and fell in love. And had my name for this music I loved and my favorite person in it. And so when I joined the band, I sort of was on the fast track to memorizing everything I could get my ears on. I was already in love with the sonic qualities of jazz. I was ready for it, and I absorbed it, and I started singing whenever I got the chance, and connecting with other musicians, and going out to hear whatever I could hear live, which was quite a lot actually in New York as a teenager, connecting up with other teenagers who were interested in jazz. And one of whom was Daniel Friedman, who played percussion on this album. We went to go hear Abbey Lincoln together when we were kids, teenagers, at a place called Condon's, which is no longer there. But anyway, so I was out on the scene meeting people, and a mutual friend of my mother's knew saxophone player Houston Person, and I connected with Houston, and he gave me some great advice, and I would say some loose mentorship. And one of the things he said to me was that I needed to go to the New School, and I said, okay.
That was easy.
Why not? I'm 16. I'm out on the jazz scene, and you seem to be a great person to give me advice. Why wouldn't I take it? So exactly. I went and I auditioned at the New School at 16, and Joe Strasser, the drummer on this album, was the drummer in my audition. So we go way back, way, way, way back. And that was the beginning. I still had to finish high school before I went, but yeah.
So by the time you graduated, what did you think was going to be your career at that point? Was it definitely going to be music?
Yeah, no, it was. I mean, I was the minute yeah, yeah. The minute I was singing in clubs, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to get a record contract and go sing the rest of my life. And I thought, I'm going to work hard and get a record contract and be a singer. And I did most of that. I didn't get a record contract. I made my own record company.
When you was doing those singing engagements, were you being paid, or were you just doing it just to get experience?
No, I was getting paid. Yeah, I was getting paid.
Okay.
And I was paying my band.
Okay. So when would you mark your first professional performance? When would you say that occurred?
I think my first professional performance was, I think our jazz band director in high school booked us at some event. I think it might have been even I think it was maybe an engagement party or a small wedding or something, you know, and my high school band played at it, and I was 15. And then the summer after that, I started doing work on my own. So.
Okay. All right. So right after you graduated, what came next?
Graduated high school or college?
High school.
High school.
You went, okay, then you
so
went to college?
I went straight to the new school, yeah.
Okay.
And
after college?
After college, I was working as a singer. And I also, though I had some very good gigs as a singer, I wasn't making enough money for New York rent as a singer. So I had some well-paid gigs, but they were not enough to pay rent. So I was also a temp.
Okay. All right. And were you writing your own music and your own compositions, or were you doing covers?
I was mostly doing standards. So I did start to write in college and in music school, and on my first record is one of the songs I wrote while in college. But I was mostly singing standards, and you know, that's what I was doing. I was singing in a lot of different clubs. I was singing a lot all over New York. And then I was hoping for that record contract, hoping for it. You know, I had various people sending out my stuff, but it didn't happen. And you know, when I was young, Diana Krall was just getting her start, and Jane Monheit was getting her start, and at that time, it seemed like there wasn't maybe space in the market for another young singer. That was the impression my young self had anyway. So I was going to do it anyway, though, whether the market made space for me or not. You know, there's that famous Shirley Chisholm quote about if they don't give you a chair at the table, pull up a folding chair. I was going to do it myself. And that's what I did. Actually, when I was 25, I made my own record first and put it out by myself. But yeah, and that was all original material. And that's when I really started writing more. However, the feedback, you know, when you're young, you get feedback from a lot of different people. And the feedback I was getting was, you know, oh, well, people want to hear more standards. So I went and I oscillated a little bit. It took me a long time to realize, no, I'm doing this myself. I can put out original material. And so I pretty much exclusively put out original material now. I would, for special requests, you know, put out other people's stuff.
I'm curious, if you're creating an EP or an LP, do you approach each song differently because it's a project that's going to have multiple tracks, or do you still approach it song by song?
So, you know, I write a lot. In the best of, you know, most of the year, I'm writing a song every single day. Some days I'm writing 2, 3, 4 songs a day. I am extremely prolific. Then if I get very, very busy with the business of music, or if I have traveling or something, it can be very difficult to write a song every day just because of the jam-packedness. I'll still get songs written, but I keep a spreadsheet, and when there's a gap next to a date, I'll often circle back and make sure I fill that date with a song later. But you know, I always have more songs than I can record. Like if I won the lottery, I would probably make a record a month. You know, I could.
Wow.
You know, I could. I have great musicians who I love to work with, who love to work with me, and I have endless amounts of material and a lot of energy for this. So it's really a matter of budgeting.
I'm sorry. Are you involved in the recording end to end and post production too?
Yes, I do the whole thing. I produce. So I assemble the songs, and I write the songs, and I assemble the collection, which sometimes changes once you get underway. Like I want in the last 2 records, I had a young arranger arrange the albums, and if he feels, I can tell in our conversation if he's not feeling a connection to the song. It doesn't mean that the song isn't a good song. It just means he's not feeling a connection to it, you know. And so I will swap that song out for another song, so that if he's putting his spin on it, he can feel a connection to it. I have enough material that I can be flexible like that, and that everybody can feel really good about all parts of it.
Do you chart and score too?
I send lead sheets and demo recordings. So that's what I do. And then what he does as an arranger is he comes back with a chart with all the parts. But you know, how I hired him was I was going to arrange Sweetness, my last record, myself. And I heard him at a open mic at Birdland. It's a Monday night event every Monday called Cast Party, and it's a lot of different people come up and perform. And I went that night, and he got up and played. He's a clarinet player and a wonderful piano player, and he got up and played on his clarinet an obscure Cole Porter song, and he played such a beautiful arrangement that he had done. And I thought, I have to talk to that guy because he's so good. And anyway, the Cast Party's a long night, like it's 9 to midnight or something like this. And he had left. And so I remembered him, but I didn't meet him. And the next time I was there and he was there, I was like, I definitely have to meet this guy because he did something else really nice. And so afterwards I asked him, I just suddenly felt like the leading, you know, to ask him, are you interested in arranging work? And he said yes. So we met up and we found we have a great rapport, and I hired him for the last record. And I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad I did. He's very, very talented. And so this time I went back to him again.
Terrific. Do you ever try out songs on stage first before you decide to record them? Or are they too? Yes. Okay. A lot of artists don't do that. You know, they keep the two things separately. You know,
I might leave 1 or 2, you know, that don't get performed. Like there's a couple of these. There's even some that I meant to put, like I put them on set lists, and then other songs ran long and they didn't get expressed in performance, but they were intended to be. But a lot of the time, yeah, I love another thing about the spirit of jazz is it's so alive. It's of the moment. There's an ephemeral quality to it. Nothing is going to be the same twice, really. Even if you're playing an arrangement, jazz takes liberties with the performance. Something slightly, there's a variation, right?
Sure.
So yeah, I like to put take things that I just created that I'm excited about and put them in front of the band and put them in front of the audience. And yes, most of these have been performed at some point, though some were not. Some were not.
I get it. I want to get to more of your music, so I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I want to play the next song called Give Me Time. So let's play it, and then afterwards you can tell us a little bit about that track, okay?
Yeah.
So this is Give Me Time by Monika Ryan. Come on.
Give me time, a little time, that's all I need. Give me space to put everything in place, that's all I need. And then I'm in, let the fun begin. I'm yours completely, we can have it all. If we live thoughtfully, give me room, a little room, all I need, so I can stretch out to see what I need to see. And then we can carry on together wholeheartedly. Life is sweet when we live in harmony. To put everything in place, that's all I need. And then I'm in, let the fun begin. I'm yours completely, we can have it all. If we live thoughtfully, give me room, a little room, that's all I need. So I can stretch out to see what I need to see. When we live in harmony, in harmony, in harmony, in harmony.
I love it. I just love your music, I got to tell you.
Thank you. That's very kind.
Yeah, well, it's just true. You know, what I really love about it is it is old school with a modern twist. You know, and there's not enough of that out there anymore.
Thank you.
You know, have you played in the UK?
I have played in Belfast, which is in the UK. Yeah, a couple times at a wonderful place called Bert's.
Okay, because, you know, the Pizza Express would love your music, and, you know, Ronnie Scott's with another place in London. There are places that I think you'd be a big, big success. You know, we can talk about that after the show, too.
I would love to.
Yeah. Okay. Are there any particular themes or messages or stories that kind of string through all of your music?
Yes. So, you know, as somebody working with these songs, many of them are, you know, 100 years old or more, so a little less, you know, and we live so differently than we did 100 years ago. You know, the songs can be great and they can be timeless and they can mean something and need to be preserved and need to be re-performed. and all of that can be true while needing to move forward a little bit with some of the songs. You know, the way what is romantic is different today. I always think about, someone to watch over me. The Gershwin's genius, right? Genius. But, nobody finds it romantic, somebody saying they're a little lost lamb that needs to be watched over. That's an old idea. And so, at the time, it was probably extremely romantic. And the idea that people were less vulnerable in this way, and, I get it. And I think it had and has a beautiful place. But I wanted to sing songs that really spoke to where we were today. And then additionally, the positive messaging, I'm a natural optimist. I'm basically going with my nature. I'm a whole person like we all are. I can certainly see everything. I'm not blind to troubles. I like a stoic, like to look at them honestly and then see how I can be responsible within the environment. And I'm a naturally positive person. I like to buoy myself and others. So my music is very much like that. The idea that I want to go through life that I'm choosing to go through life as an artist whose life is their art, and to focus on the wonderful people and places and be delighted and welcoming that into my life and welcoming other people into that perspective. I think I'm able to serve people in that way. Which again, art is service, music is medicine, and this is my form of that. So
That's wonderful. That's a great perspective. It's a really great perspective to have. Let me ask you a thought question, then we'll play the next song because we're starting to run out of time already. If you could collaborate with any musician, vocalist, songwriter, lyricist, arranger, or producer from any century, anywhere in the world, who would you love to have collaborated with?
There would be so many. So there would be so many people. I mean, I don't even know if artistically, because I can't even know if how these people collaborated. Some of them I don't know how they would have, but I would have loved to collaborate with Thelonious Monk. I would have loved that. I would have loved to collaborate with a Duke Ellington. I would have loved to collaborate with a Cole Porter. And I would, all of these people. And then there are other cool hybrid genres. Like there's an Egyptian jazz musician, Salah Rajab. I would love to collaborate with him. Let
me ask you this question. What string runs through all the four you just mentioned? What do they have in common?
Unconventional creativity.
Okay.
Yeah, a different way of doing things, but their own version of both rhythmic and melodic and soulful. Deep soul. And I would say today, if I could collaborate with somebody, I would like to make a record with Sullivan Fortner.
Okay. All right. Good. Everybody gives me, the variety of artists or composers, that I've heard from people when I ask that question always astounds me. And sometimes it doesn't even fit the artist to me in my mind, so it's always an interesting collaboration. So I want to play another one of your songs before we run out of time. We have two more songs to go. And since time is running out, it's a very appropriate song, Tortoise and Hare. So why don't you tell everybody really briefly a little of the backstory, and we'll play it right away.
This song almost didn't make it on this album because I have a whole other album I'm writing that I'm like more than halfway done with, of Aesop's Fables. And Aesop, was this philosopher, fabulist, in the ancient world, and his fables are all, The Boy Who Cried Wolf, The Lion and the Mouse, all of these, The Tortoise and the Hare. And we've been reading them to our children. I mean, Alexander the Great was probably read Aesop's Fables. And Julius Caesar and Cleopatra were probably read Aesop's. They would have been read Aesop's Fables. And we read them to our children today. And I read them to my children. And they're classic stories that I feel lend themselves naturally to story jazz. And they also have these moral content. So anyway, in my story of The Tortoise and the Hare, I changed it a little bit. It's not a race that it's slow and steady wins the race. It's not about the race. It's about the journey, and that there are hares who are living their best lives, and there are tortoises who are living their best lives. And let's not compete. Let's just celebrate each other.
Okay, let's hear now Tortoise and the Hare from Monika Ryan. I love this song too. I've listened to it several times before we had to put it on tonight. So here we go.
I'm a tortoise. You're clearly a hare. We travel in parallel from here to there. No one knows who'll arrive when or where. But does it really matter? In the end, it's all about the journey, my friend. Determined and unstoppable, I lumber along intrepidly. Focus and intention are constant companions for me, taking in the sights and sounds while learning intently. Slow and steady all the way. You fly by in fits and spurts. Like a dazzling comet, you command attention with vim and vigor to spare. You're a thing of beauty in perfect ascension. There's no right or wrong way to get to your goal. Just remember to take extra care of your soul. The right way is the way that works and gets you there whole. The outcome is the sum, my friend. There's no right or wrong way to get to your goal. Just remember to take extra care of your soul. The right way is the way that works and gets you there whole. The outcome is the sum, my friend. No one knows who'll arrive, where or when. It's all about the journey, my friend. My friend.
Monica, I keep saying this. I just love your music, and
Oh,
I feel so privileged to be able to play a lot of this music when it's just being released, and some of
thank
it
you.
hasn't been released yet. So I want to thank you so much for that. We are just about out of time, so there's so much more I want to talk to you about. I'm going to have you come back,
Oh,
a little bit
lovely.
again, so we can talk some more and share some more of your music and and just more of you with people. So I want to play the last song of the evening. It's a nice one to close out with. Won't You Be My Valentine? So let's play that, and then we'll come back and we'll wrap up for the evening. Okay?
Sounds good.
This is Won't You Be My Valentine by Monika Ryan.
Won't you be my Valentine? I could be yours. You could be mine. We could have the sweetest time, falling in love as Valentines. For today or evermore, this is what life was made for. My whole heart's an open door. Will you walk through to find out more? Your smile, both delight and grace, is everything. Your eyes hint at depths, knit the playful waves. Your voice with its timbre, gentle and smooth, they stay with me when you're gone. If you're feeling like I am, we might be more than merely friends. Tell me how the story ends. Won't you be my Valentine? are feeling like I am, we might be more than merely friends. Tell me how the story ends. Won't you be mine?
Oh, Monika, I don't know what to say. I'm floored by your music, honestly. I don't get this excited often, but it's just wonderful. It's wonderful.
Oh, thank you. That's so kind.
Let me ask you this one question before we close out tonight. If you want our viewers or listeners to remember one thing about you or about your music, what would that be?
That it's always there for them.
Okay.
That's
right.
it. You know, my music's always there. It's designed to be a pick-me-up, or at least to acknowledge the truth that there's joy all around us. And I make the music for my listeners. So it's always there. You need a pick-me-up. You need a little vacation. I have a lot of uplifting music. Come on by, listen to some music, feel good, no pressure. And, you know, I want everybody to have a good life.
Well, why don't you tell everybody how they can become a fan, whether you have a website, your social media, let everybody know.
I have a website, and it's MonikaRyan.com. That's like Monica, but with a K, MonikaRyan.com. And I'm on social media. I'm on, I spend most of the time on Facebook and Instagram, but I am also on TikTok sometimes. And I am also sometimes on LinkedIn. But if you want to see my latest stuff, it's mostly on Instagram, Monika Ryan Music, and on Facebook.
Terrific. And can they get signed copies?
Yes. Yeah. In fact, I have not pressed. When this album comes out, there will be some vinyl.
Oh,
And and that will be available for sale.
Oh, terrific. That's wonderful. Well, listen, Monika, this has been a wonderful evening. I'm definitely going to have you come back, and we'll talk about that sometime in the fall.
Lovely. Thank you.
Bring you back again to play some more of this wonderful music that you're putting out right now. So if you want to stick around for a minute after the show, we can chat for a few minutes.
Yeah.
And I just really appreciate you taking the time and sharing your story and your music with all of our audience.
Oh,
Okay?
thank you for having me. It's been a real pleasure to be here with you.
My pleasure. Good night.
Good night.
Well, that was a wonderful evening. I absolutely loved it. Next week, we have a really interesting show for you. I'm bringing back Bob Cutarella, who's a legend, in the music industry, and he's going to have one of the artists that he's working with on co-writing songs and producing music. Her name is Maria Antoinette. She's a harpist, a band leader, a singer, a composer, and a singer. She had a brilliant song out not long ago called Africa with a K. And now she's working on some new music. So be sure to come back next week for a great discussion between an artist and a producer-songwriter. So everybody, have a great week, and I'll see you again very shortly on the Jazz Confusion Power Hour next Thursday. So don't forget to drop by again. Good night.
I'm Albin. I'm the host and the founder of the Jazz Confusion Power
My name
Hour.
is Dion Parson, and I'm honored to share my passion of music with you, our listening audience, through my cultural heritage.
things can change for you too. If you want to be brand new, that is absolutely possible.